Okay, 5.4 notes, properties of logarithms. The first property we're going to talk about is the product property. And so here, let's look straight right here. Log base b of m plus log the same base of n. We're going to take, anytime we have that situation occur, a logarithm with same bases, we're going to take, if they have addition between, and rewrite them with multiplication between, with one logarithm. So we're condensing them, making them smaller based on their properties. So again, for the product property, if you've got two logarithms with the same base being added together, we're going to take the two terms and multiply them together with one logarithm and that base it started with. So here, let's condense this logarithm. Natural log of 3 plus natural log of 12. They both have understood bases of e. So in this case, we fit the criteria. We're going to condense this to natural log, understood base of e, of 3 times 12. And we know that 3 times 12 is 36. This is going to be natural log of 36. That was the product property. Now let's look at the quotient property. Here, this is going to be set up the same way. We've got a logarithm with a base of b of m minus logarithm with base b of n is going to be changed to whatever was written first divided by whatever was written second, all with one logarithm base b. So let's condense this logarithm. They both have log base 7 with subtraction in the middle. So I'm going to take and set this up as log base 7 of 2 divided by 32. And we can simplify that to be log base 7. What is 2 divided by 32 simplified? That is 1 over 16. So that would be my final condensed version of that logarithm. Alright, let's move on. Next property, the power property. This one is a little bit different. Here we have a value multiplied in front of a logarithm with a base of b of m. And so what we're going to do is take that number that's in the front and we're going to make it the exponent of m. So here, that p that was in the front is now the exponent of m. So we're going to condense this logarithm. Here's that number 3 that's being multiplied in the front of the logarithm. It is now going to be 6's exponent. And then we can evaluate 6 to the 3rd power, which is 216. Okay. Now, we're going to write as a single logarithm in simplest form. Alright, so we've got two things happening here. We've got a plus and we've got a power property. I'm going to take care of the power property first. So I'm going to take care of this part first. Log base 4 of 6 plus log base 4 of x squared. So again, that was my power property. And now I'm going to take care of the product property, which says I can take the two logarithms that they're adding together because they have the same base, and I can multiply those together. So log base 4 of 6x squared. And that's it. Okay, now, property of equality for logarithmic equations. This is saying that so long as I have a log with the same base on one side and a log with the same base on the other side, I don't need the logarithms, and when I mean on this on one side, I mean on the opposite side of the equal sign. The equal sign here is what's key. So if I have log base 5, and they're set equal, then that means that this is equal to this. So x is equal to 8. It's almost like dropping the log base 5. So let's practice that a little bit. Here we have a log base 2 on one side, a log base 2 on the other side, and the equal sign, which is key there. So I am going to essentially drop the log base 2. And so we're going to have x squared minus 4 equals 3x. Now this is a quadratic equation, so I'm going to get all of my terms on the left-hand side by subtracting 3x. And then I'm going to factor it. I'm going to set up my man box. I have a -4 for a multiply number, a -3 for my adding number. Use a positive and a negative. What multiplies to make -4 and adds to make -3? That would be a -4 and a +1. So we're going to have x plus 1 in one set of parentheses and x minus 4 in the other set of parentheses. And whenever I solve for x, I end up with a -1 and a +4. Now, let's talk about this for a minute, because we've discussed before the logarithms can't be negative. So let's look. If I were to take and evaluate log base 2 of 3x when x was -1, let's see if we get error. Remember, hit alpha window, log base 2 of 3 parentheses -1. And let's see if this works. And it does not. So that proves to me that x equals -1 is not one of my solutions, but that x equals 4 is. Alright, let's try another one. Before using the property of equality, and again that's where we take and set the logs, or get rid of the logs in their base and set the argument equal to each other, there can only be one logarithm, one on each side of the equation. So that means I need to apply my properties before I can drop my logs and set the arguments equal to each other. So let's look. If I'm looking right here, I have a log base 7, and I have subtraction in the middle. So that's going to be my quotient property. So I'm going to take and write log base 7 of 3x over 6. And then let's simplify that. Log base 7 of, what's that going to be? 1x over 2. Alright, so now we have that side of my equation done with one log, and the other side of my equation is log base 7 of 5x plus 3. So now I can do my property of equality. I'm going to write equality property right here. And then I'm going to take and drop my logs and set my arguments equal to each other. Alright, so I want to get rid of the fraction, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. And so that's going to make those 2's cancel here. So I'm going to have x equals, and then I'm going to distribute this 2 to both terms. 10x plus 6. I mean, my x is on the same side, so I'm going to subtract this x over, which is going to give me 9x, and then I'm going to subtract this 6 over and give me -6. And then we can divide by 9 and then simplify. That is going to be -2/3. Alright, so now let's talk about this. Will that work in this case? Let's check alpha window. Let's move so I can see my problem. Okay. 5, so log base 7 of 3 times, what is that, negative 2/3 minus alpha window 5 log base 7 of 6. It doesn't work. So we're going to say no solution. Alright, that's it. If you have any questions, comment below or shoot me an email. Thanks.